that.
Shivraj Singh Chouhan, Chief Minister of 18 years, but undoubtedly the tallest leader of the BJP in the state of Madhya Pradesh. He may not have been the face of elections, but he understood fully well, and he understands even today, perhaps, even the party leadership does, that in these elections, his Ladli Behen may have well played the role in ensuring that phenomenal victory for the BJP, a decisive and convincing one. Going straight to Shivraj Singh Chouhan, who is in conversation with Anurag Dwari.
मध्य प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री शिवराज सिंह चौहान जी इस वक्त हमारे साथ हैं। सर, बहुत 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 मुबारकबाद। पहले तो आप इस ऐतिहासिक जीत पर क्या कहेंगे?
नहीं, धन्यवाद। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी जन जन के मन में हैं, मध्य प्रदेश की जनता के मन में है। उनके प्रति अगाध प्रेम और विश्वास। डबल इंजन की सरकार ने जो काम किए, चाहे वो केंद्र की योजनाओं का आदर्श क्रियान्वयन हो या मध्य प्रदेश में हमने बनाई लाडली बहना जैसी योजना हो, समाज के हर वर्ग का कल्याण किया और विकास किया, तो जनता का आशीर्वाद मिला। अमित जी की अचूक रणनीति, नड्डा जी का मार्गदर्शन, कार्यकर्ताओं का परिश्रम, हम सब लोगों ने मिलकर काम किया, उसी का ये परिणाम।
लेकिन इतनी बम्पर जीत की उम्मीद थी लाडली बहनों?
मुझे तो शुरू से थी। मैं हमेशा कहता था कि हम शानदार सफलता प्राप्त करेंगे, क्योंकि जनता में स्पष्ट दिखाई देता था एंटी इनकम्बेंसी नहीं थी, या प्रो इनकम्बेंसी थी। कुछ लोगों ने हुआ खड़ा करने की कोशिश की थी कांग्रेस के, लेकिन सच तो यह है कि ये सरकार के पक्ष में जो काम थे उसकी भी लहर थी।
एक आखिरी सवाल, आज आप बहुत व्यस्त हैं कि आगे का मार्ग क्या होगा, क्योंकि 4 दफे आप मुख्यमंत्री रहे हैं, अब आगे मध्य प्रदेश का रोड मैप क्या है?
में से कोई अपने बारे में कोई फैसला नहीं करता। एक बड़े मिशन के हिस्सा हैं हम, कार्यकर्ता हैं। हमारे बारे में जो भी काम हमारी पार्टी तय करती है वो काम हम लोग करते हैं।
विपक्ष ने आपको एक्टर कहा, अभिनेता कहा, क्या उसको ये जवाब है? आप ये कहते हैं
ये जनता ने जवाब दे दिया, इसलिए मैं क्यों जवाब दूं?
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। तो मध्य प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री शिवराज सिंह चौहान साफ तौर पर कह रहे हैं कि ये पार्टी के शीर्ष नेतृत्व और लाडली बहनाओं की जीत है।
Right, interesting comments there. We'll keep a close track of how things are going to evolve now. Now you see the political tug of war happens, this discreet politicking for chief ministership happens everywhere. But for the moment, Maria will take us through state by state on how the results are panning out at the moment.
But we'll a quick word on Shivraj Singh Chouhan. He has conducted himself with immense grace throughout these elections. Undoubtedly the leader for whom the women of the state would have certainly voted. So if there is a women constituency which has undoubtedly emerged in these elections, it is for Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Mama Ji, as he is fondly called. So these are the numbers we are looking at now. Total number of seats 230, the majority or the halfway mark is 116. The BJP up 52, just look at these numbers, 161. Congress down 48, just at 66. It's one of their worst performances ever. BJP's phenomenal gain in Madhya Pradesh is because of collective leadership, many would say, and of course, that faith in brand Narendra Modi. The state of Madhya Pradesh is the first state that the BJP had won. Historically, a young party which was formed in 1980, and just look at the growth of the party. A state that they have been winning convincingly for 4 terms is a state where they are returning with a pro-incumbency vote, and just look at these numbers. Again, I'm emphasizing because I think the Madhya Pradesh elections and the victory of the BJP is sending a message of what pro-incumbency means, a new lexicon in Indian politics and Indian political history. Looking at the state of Rajasthan, another fascinating story. One would say that it's a state which follows the revolving door process. It has been the case since 3 decades, so 30 years, and here is the BJP which is returning to power, but up 40 seats from what it had last time around. Congress down 29, but this number is of course not as bad as several had thought, because this is the number that Ashok Gehlot, the outgoing chief minister, managed on his own. Perhaps their numbers would have been far worse than this, but the BJP victory of 113 again would be seen as part of their strategy in which they went with MPs being fielded on the ground, and at the same time sending a message that when it is about promises, people believe in their promises more than the report card of the previous chief minister. Looking at Chhattisgarh now, look, it's already 1 p.m. and these numbers are only consolidating for the BJP. BJP up 38, 53, the halfway mark in the in the state of 90 seats. It's a small assembly of just 90 seats, is 46. BJP at 53. Congress down by 33 seats. So Bhupesh Baghel factor hasn't worked. It is brand Narendra Modi which has worked again in the state. Remember, if we were to look at this number, it is the scheduled tribes, the ST factor which has worked for the BJP. The OBCs have voted for the BJP. And just look at this number. This is showcasing that just about every caste and community may have voted for the BJP. So it is very much going the revolving door process. Looking at another state, this is the state that Veera loves to talk the most about, and rightly so, I would say, the state of Telangana. 119-member assembly, the halfway mark is 60. Congress at 65, above 46. But the real story is also that the man who created, the man who played the role of creating the state in 2014, he is out. He is out with his party now gone below 41. I mean, just look at this number. It's going to be a humiliating defeat, certainly for K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Nobody would have thought about that.
But Maria, I think you need to those images. I think that's Revanth Reddy there.
The man of the moment.
On his chariot there in Hyderabad.
And what is this chariot?
It's you call it a chariot. Today, anything is a chariot. Anything you move on for Revanth Reddy is a chariot. It's his open, it's his car. He's stepping out of his sunroof in the car. Now, you see, this is a fascinating story on Telangana, but I must put a red herring here. At the moment, the number that you put up, 65, yes, it's comfortable, but 70 would be something where you breathe easy. And as far as BJP is concerned, getting up those 9 seats is also an interesting aspect there. Those pictures coming from Telangana, you know, Congress in Telangana has not seen images like this. The last images in the Congress party of Telangana, Sandeep Shastri, was in 2014 during formation time. And I remember during the 2014 parliamentary elections, the Congress really believed that it was going to win Telangana, because it believed that we've created the state at the cost of Andhra Pradesh, which is the remaining part of Andhra Pradesh, which is 175 assembly seats, is the part 21 parliamentary seats. That was the more, that was the 22 parliamentary seats.
The dividend has come 9 years later.
The dividend has come 9 years later, but it's come in the form
But it's not come in the form of the Telangana emotion, but much more in the form of a very strong anti-BRS
I just want to
vote.
take a little bit about Revanth Reddy. Now, and I want to put this in perspective, right, to those who don't follow Telangana so closely, which gets clobbered in the midst of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh elections. He decides to contest from Kamareddy only because KCR decides to contest from Kamareddy, because they wanted to send out an image that, look, there is an opponent in place there. There is a challenger in place to K. Chandrasekhar Rao. And until 6 months ago, there was absolutely no sense of question over KCR's might. KCR playing the big role of trying to go and talk to other alliance partners, possible third front. There was so much around K. Chandrasekhar Rao, but I think there was a sense of hubris in the family that set in, saying that, look, our work is good and we will work through. In fact, this was said. And I just want to add one point before I cut across to you, Sandeep Shastri, is that, when people were questioning and when people asked what would be a crucial factor in these elections, it was the Hyderabad versus rural factor that was very important. Urban versus rural. And you look at the results today, in LB Nagar, in Hyderabad, where Sudhir Reddy is contesting, Huda chairman is contesting, and Madhu Yashki Gaut. Madhu is trailing at the moment, the campaign committee chairman of the Congress. He is trailing at the moment. I don't know how the results will pan. So Hyderabad, the men who built Hyderabad often lose the state, as we learnt with Chandrababu Naidu in 2004.
Very true. I think the voter in India is a great leveler of egos and beliefs that people have. Now, I'm going back to Kamareddy, where Revanth Reddy decided to challenge KCR. I think it was important for him to do it for 2 reasons. One, having been made the state party president, he had to lead from the front. And secondly, having been somebody who came to the Congress from other parties, it was important that he assert his presence in the party. And therefore, the best way to do it was to challenge the sitting chief.
Just pointing out.
And the second point you made I think we are also seeing a divide between rural Telangana and Hyderabad. Hyderabad, Secunderabad clearly sees the BRS having some presence and also the BJP making its presence felt.
Okay, just telling you that Huzurabad, where Itala Rajender, remember Itala Rajender is the first finance minister of Telangana, a man who has been with K. Chandrasekhar Rao since 2003, since the formation of the party. These are people who broke from the TDP, went with KCR, part of the movement. Itala Rajender shifts to the BJP. He is trailing in his constituency, which he won last time, which is Huzurabad. Itala Rajender is trailing again in Gajwel, KCR trailing in Kamareddy. Rest of it, pretty much online because, you are Harish Rao, KCR is winning Gajwel, Harish Rao is winning his Siddipet, KT Ramarao, who incidentally, just to point out to you that, KCR names his son Ramarao because he's inspired by NT Ramarao. And that's the history
an interesting anecdote.
So it's all fascinating. And this is a region, remember, which was once an erstwhile TDP stronghold, which moves to the BRS. The Congress now, perhaps for the first time, has won as many seats in history. I mean, I'm talking from 2004-9 onwards. As many seats as it's won this time in Telangana, 119. So it's at 65 there. You see it on your screen. So we'll keep talking. You let me be and I'll keep talking only Telangana.
No. You can actually talk about that victory because undoubtedly it is fascinating. But just look at the numbers of Madhya Pradesh and the neighboring Chhattisgarh. It's a landslide. Madhya Pradesh is a landslide.
Well, there is no question that if you look at Madhya Pradesh, it is a massive drubbing.
Yes.
It is not just a defeat, it's a massive drubbing, which looks even worse for the Congress because the Congress hyped up Madhya Pradesh as miraculously somehow they have managed to reinvent themselves in Madhya Pradesh. Now, mind you, this is something which I always felt strange because after Jyotiraditya Scindia walked out, there is no question that the Congress looked in tatters in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. And suddenly, about 5 months ago, there was this buzz that the Congress is making a comeback. And then it was so much so that there were all these reports that the BJP will lose. Now, Rajasthan is something which is also something which the Congress...
But just look at these numbers. I think the Congress has done better in Rajasthan in comparison to Madhya Pradesh.
True.
And that's even more shocking because here is another state which follows the revolving door. But in the first one, in Madhya Pradesh, the Congress had presented a picture that they had, Mr. Kamal Nath has been on ground zero for the last few years. He had almost recreated that machinery. He had, Zameen se party ko khada kiye is the buzz that was going on. But Meeta,
which is the bigger shocker for you amongst the three? I mean, some of us who followed the Congress closely know that there was enormous sense of confidence about Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. There was a nervous confidence yet. Rajasthan, of course, it was a mixed bag. Which was the biggest shocker for you at what, 110? Meeta.
Hello.
Meeta, which was the biggest shocker for you? What are you messaging? Who are you messaging?
Namaskar, and yes, I was waiting for my turn. The biggest disappointment was definitely Madhya Pradesh. Because if I have to go by the trends that are being presented right now, and though it has not been finally translated to the final numbers and the results, then obviously...
I'm really sorry, Meeta. I'll have to cut across to a Congress strongman, DK Shivkumar, who's in exclusive conversation there in Hyderabad with our reporters there. Let's cut to it now.
Yes, that's a bigger question.
The party high command, it has a process of selecting leaders. We have gone to the election on a collective leadership. The party high command will take its call.
Massive crowds there that you see at Revanth Reddy's residence there. I'm sorry, Meeta, I cut you short. Please go ahead. You can speak over pictures that we are showing on the screens right now of the massive celebrations outside Revanth Reddy's house. But please tell us about which the bigger shocker for you is.
The biggest shocker has to be Madhya Pradesh, because if we go with the internal survey reports that we had within the Congress party, as well as the surveys done by different agencies, different neutral external agencies, they all predicted that Congress had a clear edge in the state of Madhya Pradesh. And the results obviously do not match our expectation, and we will have to have a very closer look at the victory margins and at the data analytics, and we will do that. And we'll have to do a proper analysis of the results. In Chhattisgarh, I was just having a look at the results, and even now, though these are trends, these are not consolidated as final results, but there are many constituencies where the victory margin is less than 1,000 votes. In certain places, even less than 500 votes. So it's a very closely fought contest, number one. In Rajasthan, yes, Rajasthan had this revolving door custom. Every 5 years, we have seen change in government in Rajasthan. Given that, the fact that Congress as of now is leading on 73 seats, the majority mark remains around 100, shows that Ashok Gehlot ji had been a popular chief minister in the past 5 years. And there had been no clear massive anti-incumbency against the Congress government in Rajasthan. So I wouldn't say Rajasthan's results completely disappointing. But yes, we definitely expected to do better in Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh. And obviously we are very elated with our performance in Telangana. Bear in mind that even 6 months back or 1 year back, we were kind of written off. We were not even considered as the principal opposition party in the state of Telangana. From there, the way the regional leadership under the PCC, under the leadership of Revant Reddy ji and the combined leadership of AICC, the way we have rebuilt the party and the way we have posed a challenge to a very powerful regional
Meeta,
party
as
in
you're
Telangana.
speaking of Telangana, may I just ask you this question? I see the numbers on the screen. They were about 70 earlier. It's now at 65. I don't know where they will solidify at. Possibly there are some very close contests. What's a number the Congress will feel comfortable in Telangana? And I'm not talking today or tomorrow, I'm talking for the next 5 years, because several Congress leaders suggested to me that, look, we're not just looking at a majority, we need a comfortable majority given the history of party breaking that happens across all states of India, but especially in the southern states.
Okay, the majority mark is 60 in Telangana, and we have crossed it. And we hope to get a higher number in Telangana. I think we are in a comfortable position as of now. Bear in mind, BJP had fought this election against the BRS government. Their entire narrative, the entire campaign that they put in Telangana was anti-BRS. And the fact that BRS is only in 40-something, I think in 41, I think they are far away from the 60 mark. Even if you include the others into that. Even then, it is far away from the majority mark.
Telangana numbers, but these elections will add to the headache of the Congress party. You are not a challenger when it is about a direct contest, and Modi factor works in states as well, particularly in the northern India and the central India. We are going straight to Harsha Kumari, who's joining us live from Jaipur. Harsha, who are the leaders who are arriving in Jaipur? It's a day of big celebrations for the BJP.
Well, yes, it's a day of big celebrations, and in fact, all the leaders are closeted at this BJP office right on top. They are having a meeting here. As you can see here in the office at the BJP Karyalaya, all the garlands are have been put out. Balloons are out in nice numbers, all orange and bright. So who all are here? Well, definitely all the big leaders of the BJP are here. And they are in the party Karyalaya having a meeting because now they have to move ahead perhaps with a press conference. Vasundhara Raje has not come to the party Karyalaya yet. She is at her residence. CP Joshi is also at his residence, the BJP president. And we believe that even senior party leaders could be coming in tomorrow here looking ahead at government formation. So what really... So BJP women workers breaking into a spontaneous dance right here behind me.
Modi, 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 Har Har Modi, Vande Mataram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Ek hi nara, ek hi naam.
A lot of enthusiasm here. It's quite difficult to do a OB. But yeah, what were the reasons for the
dancing
BJP's
as well.
win? I think 3-4 things very clearly.
Harsha, you should start dancing as well.
So
You stuck your neck out. You predicted this,
well,
right?
absolutely. Now, I'm going to come and ask all my friends what are the number I said, and I think we are quite close to that. Thank you for saying that, Veera. Thanks so much for that. But yeah, what were the reasons? I think more than anti-incumbency, there is a sense in Rajasthan that they just need to change the government. They want a fresh face, and I definitely get that feeling that let's have someone new. And somewhere or the other, perhaps when last time when the Congress also won, there was a certain attraction to Sachin Pilot as a fresh face. That was definitely there. Of course, the social welfare schemes were there. But if you look at somebody like Ravindra Bharti, he's an independent from the BJP, left the BJP. He's won from a small constituency called Shiv. And he's been a sensation on social media, on Instagram, and also on the ground. So I think sometimes what political parties should also realize is about how they need to just freshen up a little bit and maybe come across with new faces, because that I think somewhere is what the voter also wants.
That's an important question. Harsha, I just want to point out you're wearing a pink jacket which would work for the BRS in Telangana. Of course, no pink there in Telangana today. In terms of the Congress's internal power dynamics, I know a few leaders had suggested at that time, and I mean off the record obviously, that if the Congress loses in Rajasthan, it may make the move simpler for a change of guard there to transition into a newer leadership. Do you see that happening, or do you think it's a body blow to everyone?
No, I think, this was actually flagged to the Congress High Command very early last year. And the Congress High Command, to give them credit, did try and do that actually. They realized that, the work that has been done by Ashok Gehlot is a foundation they can build on, but they need a fresh face to go ahead with it. And that was the reason they probably wanted him to be Congress president. So I think somewhere that mantra was given to them. They understood that. Sources have told us that many senior Congress leaders also pitched for that. They said, if you change the CM face, then perhaps we can, win Rajasthan again. Because it is not just about 5 years, but about looking at 10 years. And I think, somewhere when the BJP decides its CM phase, they're going to look at 10 years. They're not again going to give the leadership here for 5 years and then expect to be voted out by Rajasthan's revolving door. So when the BJP decides and announces their CM phase, I think that's a factor we all should look out for.
So who will be the Mukhyamantri of Rajasthan will be the big question now, because if the BJP has managed to get 110 seats in the state of Rajasthan, it's a big message that is coming for all the state leaders, even as the party will be saying that they came up with a new formula, Harsha, of fielding 7 MPs also in the state of Rajasthan. How are the MPs doing as candidates, Harsha?
Well, most of the MPs are doing quite well. Rajavardhan in the middle had his bit hiccups, but we are told that he will catch up because, it's the biggest constituency. He also has the largest number of candidates. Diya Kumari has, of course, done absolutely marvelously. Baba Balaknath has also done very, very well. So he's doing well. I'm just going to check on Devji Patel. Remember, he was the other person from Jalore who had a lot of opposition, faced a lot of opposition. So by and large, this formula of, setting in the MPs to fight the election, to go faceless, not go with the, go on the party symbol. I was talking to some young people here, and in fact, wherever I traveled in Rajasthan, the youth vote actually has swung towards the BJP, especially over the paper leak issue. The exam paper leak has actually been a very defining narrative for the youth and for the BJP in this election, and the BJP had their pulse on it and they used it to the maximum and too politically to hilt.
Okay. Harsha, we'll keep coming back to you, but Avinash Kalla is here in the studio. Avinash, you and I have been discussing the elections very closely for the last few weeks. What do you think worked for the BJP, or has the state just followed the tradition or rivaj of voting out the incumbent?
I think we followed the rivaj by and large, and what worked for the BJP best was their gains in the eastern Rajasthan. You look, 27 seats they have gained. So it's more of a loss for the Congress than the gain for the BJP, because the caste combinations worked very well for them and they look comfortable as of now. So more than any other thing. And secondly, the whole idea of law and order that the BJP was raking up for the women voters worked in favor of them. So freebies didn't work that well. And as we have been talking, Maria, that people look at it, that we have gained out of this government, whatever the next one will give will be a new add-on.
ये बताइए मुख्यमंत्री कौन है? यही सवाल है.
देखिए मैं अभी भी कह रहा हूं जब तक ये आंकड़ा 120 पार नहीं करता, it's a good chance for Vasundhara Raje as long as it is under 120.
Okay, so let's start with the person sitting next to you, sir. What is your take? Who's becoming the chief minister in Rajasthan?
Again, as we have started this entire election procedures, election campaign, that Kamal ki Phool, this is the targets of BJP, and now rightly the next gentleman next to me has told that until we cross a very safe figure of 120 plus, we are not going to decide that who is going to be the chief minister of there. Then the parliamentary board will take a consolidated decision regarding 3 or 4 states, three states at least, and then they will be accepted.
Having covered the BJP for several years now, and particularly the Modi-Shah BJP post 2014, the parliamentary board decides what the party leadership decides.
No, I think if you have covered BJP...
Look at the processes, but you know the...
I tell you, apart from a media person, I am also a Sangathan person. I tell you, I also involved in the Sangathan. We are regimented. As you rightly told, it is Mananiya Narendra Modi ji whose face is the most, assuring face for our party. But when it take a decision, there is a cumulative decision, collective decision, and it is okay, maybe guided by Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, but this is never taken on a single.
What's the big takeaway in terms of? Sorry, Mr. Ghosh, I just want to focus on that one question that you say that it's a collective decision. What's the big takeaway for the BJP here? Because you had an experiment in Karnataka where they wanted to change Yediyurappa, move forward, the elections backfired, but they've now brought that back. Sort of reverse that decision. Here in MP and Rajasthan, there was a sense of wanting to move forward from the old guard, but along with sort of a collective move forward. What's the big lesson for the BJP from these as it goes forward to 2020?
There's 2 messages. Number one, if you talk comparing between the southern India and northern India sentiments and their organizational pattern and organizational structure is different. Secondly, in northern India, there's a lot of other factors apart from the who will be the face. A lot of other very critical factor is there. And this time the factor has multiplied. So the lesson that we have got that there should be a combination of the youth and the old, number one. Number two, this was never done so, I think so forcefully that even the central leaderships or the cabinet ministers has been. So that is a unique part of BJP that if necessary the cabinet minister can leave their position and as a good Karyakarta they come down at the state level and fight and win it. Not a single party in this country can show the second example. So that is the strength of BJP. That is the strength of us that we are like a fighters. We are like a fighters and we are ready to fight any challenges which has been given, whether it is cabinet minister, whether it is a state minister, whether it is any position, we are fighting for the cause.
Okay.
If you look at it, when the prime minister will be arriving at the BJP headquarters and will be addressing the Karyakartas of the party, he will say, I am also a Karyakarta. So I think that,
Can I make a point?
He behaves like that also. He behaves like that.
Yeah. So I just would make a brief point. I think what he said is something very significant. That if on the chief ministership in Rajasthan, that if they reach a safe figure of 120, that's when they'll take the decision. Because remember, Vasundhara Raje has a lot of very loyal supporters. And they don't want to get to, and this is, I think, the hard, pragmatic, strategic sense of the BJP. It's not just Mr. Modi's dominance or everything.
It's a very important point. That look, we will test a decision. If it doesn't work, we are happy to take it back.
And the same thing in
I will disagree with this. A figure of 109 in an assembly of 199 with the halfway mark of 101 is a convincing victory of a party. And if you look at it, the challenger or the Congress party in this bipolar contest is 73. So they are good 35 seats ahead. So even if the rebels or any other leader is not a factor here, The BJP will take a call. The leadership at the center will decide.
I think, Madhya, I agree with you
yes.
here.
You know, it's a big number.
Reason being, as somebody said it, they are looking for 10 years ahead.
Yes.
And they'll have to plan it now.
Okay.
Let's cut across to Piyush Goyal.
Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is speaking. Let's listen in.
लेकिन जिस प्रकार की शानदार विजय भाजपा की हुई है और जो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के अलग अलग सभाओं में स्पष्ट देखने को मिलता था, तेलंगाना में भी आप देखिए जिस प्रकार से बढ़त भाजपा की हुई है। पिछली बार तो हम 1 सीट पे थे, 1 सीट से डबल डिजिट पे जाना ये स्पष्ट करता है कि देश भर में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के प्रति लोगों का विश्वास दिनों दिन बढ़ते जा रहा है। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी जो कहते हैं वो करते हैं, ये बात लोगों के जहन में आ गई है। और मोदी है तो मुमकिन है, ये आज देश का हर युवा, देश की हर महिला, देश का हर गरीब इस बात से सहमत हो चुका है।
जी सर, हमेशा की तरह कांग्रेस फिर से ईवीएम को लेकर रो रही है।
बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है, कांग्रेस पार्टी इतना विषयहीन हो गई है और जिसको बैड लूजर्स कहते हैं उसका परिचय फिर एक बार दे रही है। पूरी दुनिया में आज भारत के ऊपर, भारत के राजनीतिक प्रणालियों पर, भारत के चुनावी प्रणालियों पर पूरे दुनिया में भारत की वाहवाही होती है। ऐसे में कांग्रेस शायद चाहती नहीं है कि भारत का गुणगान हो, भारत के नाम आगे बढ़े। ये दुर्भाग्य तो है ही, पर मुझे लगता है कि जनता में ये हंसी मजाक का विषय है, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं।
जी सर, थैंक यू।
The BJP office will begin shortly when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in few hours from now. He has ensured that the party wins and wins big in the states. And Desh Ratna Nigam, let's make it clear that a number of 111 and a good gap of 40 seats between the Congress and the BJP is a convincing victory. This will not be seen as any kind of confusion among the voters.
Yes, certainly. And you have to keep an eye on who are the 17 others as well.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the gap, now there is 113 as I see in some channels, 113 to the BJP and 69 to the Congress. That gap is very material to decide who is going to come into power. And BJP is not looking for a short-term gain. Immediate prospect is for 2024 elections, general elections, and then the planning for next 10 years. So that this revolving door policy goes for 6. Because BJP should certainly be considering to bring out some kind of a new face out there who builds BJP for future in Rajasthan. Yes, and I'm sure 2024 elections, the number of seats which the BJP is going to get in Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh will be humongous, almost sweep will be there. There is no doubt about it, despite, in fact, if you look at the previous elections, the loss of BJP but sweeping the elections in the general election. So this will be probably the same kind of results, with probably 1 or 2 seats added more out there in the general election.
I believe we can go across to an exclusive interview with Raman Singh there, potential Chief Minister aspirant for the in Chhattisgarh. Let's listen to that before we come back into this conversation.
छत्तीसगढ़ में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बन रही है और जितने रुझान आ रहे हैं उसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पूर्ण बहुमत है। हमारे साथ पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री डॉक्टर रमन सिंह हैं। आप पहले भी बोल रहे थे कि 52 से 55 के बीच में अब वो आंकड़ा पहुंच रहा है।
बिल्कुल लगता था और पूरे छत्तीसगढ़ को घूमने के बाद एहसास हो गया था कि भूपेश सरकार के भय और आतंक से जनता ऊब चुकी है, भ्रष्टाचार से ऊब चुकी है और बदलाव होगा।
अब आगे का क्या होगा, क्योंकि अब पूर्ण बहुमत आ गया भारतीय जनता पार्टी को। अब जो चर्चाएं हो रही हैं कि मुख्यमंत्री कौन होगा, तो क्या माना जाए कि अब डॉक्टर रमन सिंह ही मुख्यमंत्री होंगे?
नहीं, कोई डॉक्टर रमन के चेहरे को सामने रखकर चुनाव नहीं लड़ा गया। विधायक दल की बैठक होगी, पर्यवेक्षक आएंगे, विधायकों से राय लिया जाएगा और दल का नेता चुना जाएगा। हर बार यही होता है, 2003 में भी हुआ, 8 में भी हुआ, 13 में भी हुआ, तो वो प्रक्रिया समानता है और विधायकों के बैठक के बाद तय हो जाएगा।
आपसे जब भी मेरी बात हुई तो आप यही बोल रहे थे कि 52 से 55 सीटें में पूर्ण बहुमत के सिर्फ। बाकी अगर देखें एग्जिट पोल देखें, तमाम जो लोग हैं वो ये आकलन नहीं, तो आप इसको किस तरीके से आकलन कर पा रहे थे?
पूरे छत्तीसगढ़ को घूमने के बाद एक नक्शा बना हुआ था और ये मालूम था कि भूपेश के घमंड को, भूपेश के भ्रष्टाचार को छत्तीसगढ़ की जनता भूपेश के चेहरे को रिजेक्ट करने जा रही है और ये दिख रहा है पूरे चुनाव में।
अच्छा, क्या मोदी जी की गारंटी काम की और घोषणा पत्र ने पूरा ये लैंडस्लाइड किया।
निश्चित रूप से जो नतीजा दिख रहा है, मोदी जी की गारंटी सबसे प्रमुख रूप से उस गारंटी पे छत्तीसगढ़ की जनता ने विश्वास किया है और डबल इंजन की सरकार बनाने के लिए छत्तीसगढ़ की जनता ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को प्रचंड बहुमत से जिताया है।
सरकार बनने के बाद फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी पहला काम क्या होगा?
पहले ही कहा हुआ है कि 18 लाख आवास की बात और जो घोषणा पत्र हमने कहा है उसके क्रियान्वयन की बात, महिलाओं को 12,000 रुपया देने से लेकर अन्य घोषणाएं, उसका क्रियान्वयन।
Well, now it's all time for who's going to become CM where, whether it's Congress or BJP, everything shifts to Delhi right now. The decisions are taken in Delhi, then spread
Veena,
across, right?
Yes, because you make that point, who will become the chief minister. I think from the Congress side, it's more or less decided because there's only one state. On the BJP side, because it was collective
There is only
leadership.
one state, Maria, but there are many aspirants in every state. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll try and focus with our expert panel on what's next in the next 8 to 10 hours. That will be the politicking that we'll discuss when we come back from this very short break. Welcome back. All the action right here on NDTV. Now, Maria is going to take us through state by state, of course, from the emphatic win in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, 20 minutes to 2, and these trends are only consolidating. We can say clearly and safely that the BJP is forming the government in the state of Madhya Pradesh, despite having an anti-incumbency of 4 terms. The chief minister is returning to power. The BJP is returning to power. Whether it will be Shivraj Singh Chouhan or not, that remains to be seen. But BJP is returning to power. Just look at the gain that they have had of 161 seats in all in an assembly which has the halfway mark of 116. Congress winning 66 down by 48 seats. But I think this number of 161, it becomes important. And Sajjan Kumar, let's discuss this 161, particularly that this is the biggest victory ever.
Yeah.
Bigger than 2013 when it was like, we had seen Mr. Modi arrive on the political scene. But at that time it was around 150. This is a landslide victory.
Yeah, and this landslide victory is something which is being attributed momentarily to the overwhelming participation of the women, because of the, Ladli Lakshmi, Ladli Behen yojana. But mind it, one factor cannot account for such a big margin of around 9 to 10% between Congress and the BJP. One has to understand that there is something about Madhya Pradesh. When you talk about 2 months back, there was real anti-incumbency, there were real anger, there were real issues which was facing BJP in a negative way. From there until now, this landslide which you win, it means 2 things. One, Congress is incapable on encashing on anti-incumbency across India barring few states. Karnataka was just one exception. This is one. 2, the top leadership of the Congress is a baggage, So even when state leadership is somewhat holding the ground, they do not get the kind of support. And in the case of BJP, you have all the assets, the organizational might, you have the central leadership, and then the leadership who was being projected as someone who people were fatigued with, suddenly turned out to be an asset. From 8 o'clock until 1, 2 a.m. in the night, the way Shivraj Singh campaigned invoked the emotional card, and the way BJP organizational might reduced the election, not only from a binary between Kamal Nath and Shivraj, but in every region it was Kamal Nath versus Narendra Singh Tomar in Chambal Gwalior region, Kamal Nath versus Kailash Vijayvargiya in Malwa region, Prahlad Singh Patel in Mahakaushal. So that we see the creative campaigning, creative strategy, organizational might, making it multifaceted and not rejecting, sidelining Shivraj Singh Chouhan completely.
That was a lesson perhaps learned from Karnataka.
That was a classical textbook model of how to fight an election, wherein you see all the variables in a synchronized positive way. And that is why, as was mentioned in Rajasthan also, it's a clear and emphatic win. But could it have been up to 130 or 140 had you seen all the variables of face, organization and creativity also in Rajasthan?
So it's about a complete thali that we keep talking about.
Exactly, it is going to be a classical case study how to win an election even when you face adversarial.
So for till 2 months back, it was being seen as anti-incumbency, but today we are discussing pro-incumbency, ma'am.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think 2-3 factors. I completely agree with the co-panelist, and one more factor which I have been stressing again and again is the consolidation of the Sanatan votes which has happened in this region, especially the northern belt. I think this is something which we cannot ignore. The Sanatan Dharma was constantly being targeted by India Alliance, and there was no clear, visible, side taking by the Congress guys. So basically, Kamal Nath, even though he tried to stay neutral and tried to project that as if he is pro Sanatan, but there were no clear opposition from his side when there were certain statements made. In Rajasthan, if you remember, there was the beheading of Mr. Kishan Lal, very small time worker, Kanhaiya Lal. I'm sorry. So that also caused a lot of consolidation of these votes, and while BJP planned meticulously, they also implemented many schemes. They reached out to people, but at the same time, this is a very important factor which we cannot ignore after all.
Absolutely.
And the
On our
women
television
voter share.
screens, we'll talk about the women factor because that's the most fascinating part of Indian politics that I have been almost following as a trend for election after election, from assembly elections to central elections, the Lok Sabha elections. But one thing is becoming clear, ladies and gentlemen, that what plays as a Modi voter or a Labharti works not only in the Lok Sabha, but also works in the state elections. These are the numbers coming in. It's only consolidating of 160 plus for the BJP. Let's listen in to Jyotiraditya Scindia, someone who was responsible for toppling the government of Mr. Kamal Nath, but he also became a factor in the Chambal Gwalior region where his chosen men have registered victory.
सर, आज की इस जीत पर क्या कहेंगे? ऐसी जीत की उम्मीद थी?
अनुराग, मैंने आपको कहा था कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत होगी, और आपने भी उस दिन मुझे कहा था कि मुझे भी लग रहा है कि यही होगा। आपकी सोच और हमारी सोच पूर्ण रूप से सत्य निकली। इस जीत पर अगर मैं किसी को प्रथम मैं धन्यवाद अर्पित करना चाहता हूं, तो हमारे मध्य प्रदेश के एक एक मतदाता को मैं देना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ ये सरकार बनाई है। मैं उनके सामने मैं प्रणाम करता हूं, नतमस्तक हूं और उनके पैर छूता हूं। और उसी के साथ प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व, जो एक पूर्ण रूप से लक्ष्य के साथ उन्होंने कार्य किया है मध्य प्रदेश के विकास के लिए, देश के विकास के लिए। गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी और हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा जी, उनका मार्गदर्शन, हमारी जो हौसला अफजाई हुई, और प्रदेश के अंदर अगर किसी को श्रेय जाता है तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एक एक कार्यकर्ता, जिसने खून पसीना एक करके इस पार्टी को इस स्थान पे लाया है, और हमारे मुख्यमंत्री शिवराज सिंह चौहान जी, जिनकी जन कल्याणकारी योजनाओं ने ये परिवर्तन लाया है, और हमारे प्रदेश अध्यक्ष बीडी शर्मा जी।
और ये छत्तीसगढ़ में क्या हो गया? आप तो वहां भी
प्रधानमंत्री जी का देश की जनता के दिल में जो जादू है, राजस्थान हो, छत्तीसगढ़ हो, मध्य प्रदेश हो, एक इतिहास प्रधानमंत्री जी ने देश के अंदर जो कायम किया है, उसी का एक रिफ्लेक्शन है कि एक एक राज्य में जनता उनके साथ जुड़ी है।
बस एक आखिरी सवाल, मुख्यमंत्री चेहरे को लेकर बहुत सवाल हो रहे हैं।
मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कार्यकर्ता था, आज हूं और जिंदगी भर रहूंगा। उसी सोच और विचारधारा के साथ उसी श्रेणी में मैं कार्य कर रहा हूं।
मध्य प्रदेश में डबल इंजन की सरकार पर जन जन का विश्वास है। मोदी जी की गारंटी पर जन जन का विश्वास है।
एक ही राज्य नहीं, कई राज्यों में इस बार बीजेपी ने जो दावे किए थे वो पूरे होते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल, पूरे भारत में आज मोदी जी की गारंटी पर जन जन को विश्वास है।
सर, आपने एमपी को बेहद ही करीब से देखा है, क्या वजह रही जो इतने सीट लेकर आ रही है बीजेपी?
मैंने आपको कहा, देश में मोदी जी की गारंटी पर जन जन का भरोसा है।
Is now all in celebration mode, and rightly so. Their performance in Madhya Pradesh is perhaps the best among all the states, but the Congress performance among all the states is worst in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Clearly, best and worst, you can clearly sense that. Ajoy, coming to you, is this now the end of road for Mr. Kamal Nath? 78-year-old leader, what will happen to him and his politics after this?
I really think so, because I think Kamal Nath doesn't bring anything to the party. He's not a mass leader. And I think one of the problems is that all this talk of Kamal Nath helping the Congress make a comeback, I think was really deluding themselves, the Congress, Because Congress, Kamalnath is very good at managing things from behind the scenes. But as a face to the public, he's really nobody. Digvijay Singh is no doubt was a massive leader, was a great mass leader at one point. But now he's finished. He is now very old. Again, yesterday's leaders. So they do not have somebody really which is strong. They had Scindia, but he's left the party. So I think that's a big problem.
So my question to Maria as well as to you, in hindsight, for instance, you have a Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan. Who is going to be the next guard? Scindia was potentially that. Now, parties need to transition well in time. And what's the bigger lesson as far as regional satraps is concerned? You have a Siddaramaiah, you have a DK Shivkumar which work up, you have a Revanth Reddy which works out in Telangana, but you don't have these old regional satraps working out in MP and Rajasthan.
Can I make a point on that? I think to look at what forward for Kamalnath, we need to go backward. The fact that he had only 1.5 years as Chief Minister was linked to the fact that he was not able to take other segments of the party with him. You had the unrest leading to Scindia leaving the party. I think the time has come where the Congress has to look at younger leadership. They should have given a chance in this election itself, but now I think, given the type of results we have in Madhya Pradesh, younger leadership for the party is something it needs to look at, even as it prepares for the next Lok Sabha election.
Yes, so this is a drubbing for the Congress. They have to really go back to the drawing board and start understanding as to what went wrong, because this is their, it's essentially that the party doesn't have any structure on ground if these numbers actually hold.
Maria, can I make a
yes,
small
please,
point?
go ahead.
Then I want to make a small.
These elections, and if they lose Chhattisgarh also decisively, is really bad for the Congress. But I would like to be provocative and say that this is actually good for the India alliance. Because my fear has always been, and knowing the Congress for over 50 years, if they had won and done very well, they would have completely gone besides themselves and said, who needs this?
This is a very important point. That in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, it's Congress versus the BJP.
Yeah.
There is no regional player here.
No, what I'm trying to say.
So they may not have any bargaining power, say in Uttar Pradesh or in Bihar.
Right.
But then they needed that. They had to be strong here.
Maybe for the Congress. But what I'm trying to say is that if they did very well, they would have been very pig-headed, like they were in Madhya Pradesh.
I think the point Ajoy is making is that regional players will feel confident with the Congress coming in and being able to deal with them. But unfortunately, Ajoy, these areas, the Congress, if it had been a 2-1 in these areas, it may have been okay. But a 3-0 here would be a jolt even to regional players who were trusting the fact that, look, they will be able to hold their own either in MP or in Chhattisgarh or in Rajasthan. One of them. So that's a huge blow. Let's just listen in to Smriti Irani, who's spoken to our reporters before we come back to this conversation.
नरेंद्र मोदी की गारंटी है विकास की। मोदी की गारंटी पर जनता ने जो भरोसा दिखाया है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता होने के नाते हम जनता के प्रति कृतज्ञता का भाव रखते हैं। बार बार भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं ने डंके की चोट पर कहा कि मोदी मैजिक रंग लाएगा। आज के परिणाम उसी का प्रतीक है।
जिस तरह से मोदी जी पे कटाक्ष भी कर रही थी विपक्ष, उसको लेकर
मैं इतना ही कहूंगी, जिस प्रकार की अभद्र टिप्पणियां गांधी खानदान ने विशेष नरेंद्र मोदी के ऊपर की, जिस प्रकार का कटाक्ष विपक्ष के नेताओं ने नरेंद्र मोदी पर किया, वो कटाक्ष विपक्ष को, गांधी खानदान को महंगा पड़ा है। जनता जानती है कि विकास के मुद्दों पर सिर्फ नरेंद्र मोदी का नेतृत्व, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ही खरी उतरी है और जनता ने उसी पर भरोसा कर पुनः मोदी मैजिक के माध्यम से आज ये परिणाम हमारे सामने प्रस्तुत किए हैं।
तेलंगाना में अनुरूप नहीं आया नतीजे।
मैं इतना ही कहना चाहूंगी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता प्रतिबद्ध हैं कि नरेंद्र भाई के नेतृत्व में, हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी के मार्गदर्शन में हम पार्टी को हर प्रदेश में सशक्त करेंगे। आज के परिणाम हम सबके लिए सुखद हैं, लेकिन साथ ही 2024 में जीत का संकेत है।
Smriti Irani there, Union Minister, who also campaigned extensively across these poll-bound states. And the women factor, let's discuss that with our panelists. We have just about 5 minutes left on this bulletin. So, Sajjan Kumar and ma'am, please weigh in on the women voters. Are they the ones that have tilted the balance of power completely this time around?
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
You can go ahead.
See, if you see the variables that we employ to understand the election while we try to understand it before polling. So in Madhya Pradesh and in other states also, you see there was a consistent kind of a factor that BJP is trying more to encash upon the women voters, and Congress was trying to focus more on the youths on account of unemployment and the farmers on account of the inflation. That was, so women, youth and farmer were the three variables that we were accounting. Now see how, I mean, there is a further contradiction and subtlety. When Shivraj Singh Chouhan and Ladli Behen yojana started giving benefit to women across from 21 year old up to 59, half of the female youths were already won over by the BJP. So this binary of youth, Ladli versus Ladla versus farmers, these are kind of things that doesn't work. So overwhelmingly in poorer state, you find that more women are voting even for the kind of welfare schemes which may not be very much intense. We are also witnessing, if you see Telangana and compare Madhya Pradesh, what you find that in Telangana, the ruling party BRS was not doing bad. There were policies in rural areas, there were infrastructural developments, power sector was good, irrigation was good. There are also schemes, there may be criticism about their kind of efficiency. But what does it, the loss of BRS and the victory of BJP also signify that we are having two set of states in India. One are highly aspirational, wherein a ruling party may do pretty good, and yet the aspiration will lead to its defeat, as happened in Telangana. Because in IT sector, you see Hyderabad is on the cusp of outshining Bangalore and Pune. His son KTR is very popular. But if you see a state like Madhya Pradesh, which is aspirationally slightly at a lower index, even slight benefit, a monthly sort of income of 1250 and promise of 3000 galvanized half of the female youth voters in favor of the Congress, BJP.
I cannot not discuss the women voter without the woman on the panel, the only one. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, so Maria, I think first of all, if you look at the vote percentage share, I think there is a 4% vote share which tilts towards the BJP. If you look at the women vote share I am talking about, and this is a very high share, and this is because of all the facilities or the benefits which is reaching directly to the women. For 60 years, women did not have toilets, they did not have water in their taps at home, and these are some basic things which are needed, and nobody actually bothered about these things. And this is the emotional connect which Prime Minister Modi first addressed: the toilets, the water in the tap, the health and medical facilities, the Jan Dhan and the DBT. The women directly are getting the money in their accounts. This is a very big thing. This is a financial independence for them, and sometimes they have to protect this money from their husbands who may be abusers as well. So these are some very small things which have a direct impact. Now, if you talk about the triple talaq, if you talk about women reservation bill, these are things which even the urban mindset is getting appealed. You have women participating in army, navy, air force. You see how they are getting empowered. Women winning in the sports event and how they are being encouraged.
Particularly in the state of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the percentage of women voters is higher than men. Women may have very well shown the way in these elections.
Correct.
And they are now a constituency for Narendra Modi. News and updates will continue on the other side. Its picture is clear. Picture ab saaf ho chuki hai. Out of the 4 states whose results have come out today, the BJP has won 3, and Telangana has been won by the Congress party. In fact, one of our reporters is joining us. Okay, in fact, we are going straight to the BJP office where Ravi Shankar Prasad, the senior BJP leader, is joining me live. Mr. Prasad, you can say, Maria, maine tumko bola tha, and I have to believe that and I have to take that as well. Yes, you had said that all the states will be won by the BJP.
And I remember you were conveying a sense of disbelief as far as Chhattisgarh is concerned, and Rajasthan also. Remember? I said Chhattisgarh bhi jeetenge. Kaha tha na?
Ji.
Aaj hum jeet gaye. Well, Maria, let me put things in perspective as I see it. Today's result, 2/3 majority in Madhya Pradesh, a super comfortable majority in Rajasthan, a very decent majority in Chhattisgarh. It indicates what? It shows, in my very considered view, a tectonic shift in the polity of India. People of India trust a leader who has got not only the promise but the ability. My very considered view, a tectonic shift in the polity of India. People of India trust a leader.
Okay. We'll try and connect with Mr. Prasad in just a bit. So the BJP leaders have all started arriving at the national headquarters. Yes, sir, please continue. We lost your audio for a brief while.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been rebuffed on the issue of caste census. Good governance. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, loud and clear. Our viewers as well.
Good governance, delivery on the ground. And let me give you an example. Apart from working in Chhattisgarh, I also traveled in Madhya Pradesh. I remember I was in Rath Yatra in Guna with Shivraj ji, with the state president in the area of Khajuraho, remote area. There, Maria, I wanted to believe in a very remote rural market, lot of women were standing. When I was speaking, they were trying to capture me on their smartphone. I said, आप लोग को कोरोना का टीका लगा? तो कहा लगा. कहा पैसा लगा? कहा नहीं लगा. कहा कैसे आया? खबर? कहा हमारे मोबाइल में बताया कि पहला डोज कहाँ लगेगा. This gives you a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment that what is promised is there on the ground. Apart from Ladli Behen and others, there's the trust factor of Modi ji.
So when you talk about the trust factor, Mr. Prasad, will you say that there is a Labharti voter, a woman voter and a Modi voter, or all of them combined now?
All of them combined. And what is the foundation of this, Maria? Good governance, delivery, probity and propriety is coming to the forefront of India's polity. ज़्यादा भाषण मत दो, ईमानदारी से. और बाकी तो बड़े बड़े वादे तो बहुत कर देते हैं, बट वादों को जमीन पर कौन उतार रहा है और कौन उतार सकता है, that is becoming the crucial element. Therefore, you see in Chhattisgarh what a narrative he has seek to build. And therefore, and you know, on the lighter vein, Maria, there's a very interesting reply to the great institution of exit polls too, psephologists. I respect that institution. Okay. We all like it. But exit poll के आगे भी एक बड़ी दुनिया है, जो हिंदुस्तान की दुनिया है,
लेकिन
जो आम वोटर्स की दुनिया है.
रविशंकर जी, मेरा सवाल ये होगा कि जो प्रधानमंत्री ने जो बड़ा बिरसा मुंडा का इवेंट किया था, रांची में वो हुआ था, उसका असर आपको कितना लगता है कि छत्तीसगढ़, मध्य प्रदेश और राजस्थान के ट्राइबल वोट्स पे पड़ा है?
देखिए, you are trying to see it in isolation, Maria, please. That is certainly there. Making Draupadi Murmu ji a respected, dignified leader as the President of India also had its impact. Ramnath Kovind, a distinguished Dalit leader from UP, being the President, has also its impact. All the delivery on the ground, including tribal village, the way tribal sportsmen have been encouraged, तीरंदाजी से लेके बाकी सब, the way Modi ji हॉकी खेलने वाली बेटियों को गले लगाते हैं, उनको encourage करते हैं. Don't you think it goes to the ground? That how much this Prime Minister motivates her? The way Indian women are coming in the armed forces, the way Indian women are taking a lead in Chandrayaan mission, the way Indian army women are becoming army officers and fighting, all has a cumulative effect that this leader has a great dedication for the cause of women empowerment and women development.
And Mr. Prasad, since you come from the state of Bihar, you are also a member of parliament from Bihar. My question is that soon after Nitish Kumar announced and released the caste census survey, other states, other Congress leaders, be it in Madhya Pradesh or in Rajasthan or in Chhattisgarh, they tried to make caste census a talking point. But if we were to look at this number, it's essentially a rejection of that politics as well.
Two things. BJP stands committed for the empowerment of the backwards, extremely backwards. But we hate the politics on that. इसकी संख्या कम करो, उसकी संख्या बढ़ा के बताओ. You know, that's the point number one. The second point, what is important is, you rightly said, the negation of this idea, Rahul Gandhi or others, is to be seen in two contexts. हम पर तो बोलते हो कि जिसकी जितनी संख्या भारी, और वहाँ तो लालू का परिवार ही आगे बढ़ता है, मुलायम का परिवार ही आगे बढ़ता है, राहुल गांधी आप ही आगे बढ़ते हो, तो ये वहाँ भी चर्चा होती है. And the second, which is very important, Indian politics has travelled beyond this, Maria. You come to your own state, our state, Bihar, and see how there is sense of empowerment, entrepreneurship, aspiration, cutting across caste divide. And there they hope Narendra Modi is the answer. इसलिए आप बिहार के चुनाव का इंतजार करिए, वहाँ तो बहुत चलते रहते हैं चीजें.
तो आपका कहना है कि इसका असर बिहार में भी होगा?
क्या?
इसका असर बिहार में भी होगा 2025 में?
क्यों नहीं होगा? नीतीश कुमार जी जो नई नई बातें कहते हैं, तो मैं एक बात तो कह ही सकता हूँ आज आपके चैनल पर, हम दोनों बिहारी बात कर रहे हैं. अगर सब कुछ यही है तो 18 साल नीतीश बाबू कर क्या रहे थे? आप क्या किया आपने? बात समझ गई मेरी बात?
रविशंकर जी,
जनता सवाल
मेरा सवाल ये है कि आपने इस बार चुनाव में पार्टी सेंट्रल लीडरशिप had fielded union ministers, MPs in all the states, particularly Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. The message was that all hands on deck, everybody is needed on ground. They were fielded as candidates. You have been with the party since Jan Sangh days. I want to understand from you, what does it mean for the BJP Karyakartas such as you, being an MP but going ahead and contesting as an MLA? For the MLA seat.
I have lost you.
Can you hear me, sir? Sir, can you hear me now?
Maria, I have lost you.
Can you hear me now? So we'll try and connect with Mr. Prasad in just a bit. We'll try and connect with Ravi Shankar Prasad in just a bit. But we have seen how BJP leaders campaigned extensively across various states, all the poll-bound states. The message was that each and every pocket of these states are important. Shivraj Singh Chouhan there addressing the Karyakartas and his wife, Sadhana, standing next to her husband. This is a victory for the family certainly as well. Shivraj Singh Chouhan with the women of Madhya Pradesh distributing and throwing flower petals as well. This is an interesting visual that's coming in from Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the emotional connect is very much seen here. Mama ji is clearly visible in the pictures, I think, and that is how BJP has won this election. The woman voter was targeted, or I would say benefited from whatever schemes the BJP has outlaid for them, and they have seen that these schemes are reaching to the last mile. There has been a dashboard, how many LEDs have been delivered, how many gas connections have been delivered, and certain things like when the price of the gas connection cylinders were higher, the subsidy was introduced at the right time, I believe. We have understood the nerve of the women voters, and that is something which has benefited immensely for Madhya Pradesh, I believe.
Thank you so much for your time, Sumitra Goenka, and all the panelists here in the studio. This remains our top focus. The BJP has won 3 of the 4 states, the results of which that have been announced today. It's a clear, decisive victory in the state of Madhya Pradesh, a clear victory in the state of Rajasthan, and of course a surprise victory in the state of Chhattisgarh. Lots more news and updates, lots more newsmakers lined up for you here on NDTV.
Out for, because their own stronghold, which we have always spoken about as the stronghold, the 7 seats in the area of Hyderabad, that seems to be under threat. Another interesting development that's happened in these particular elections is that not just the Reddy community, but also the Kamma community seems to have voted for the Congress here. And very interestingly, you can see the Telugu Desam flags there, Veera. If you just, I think Nagraj is already panning. If I can ask you to pan the Telugu Desam flags there, along with the Congress flags there. Look at those Telugu Desam flags that are being fluttered by people who are wearing, in fact, yellow clothes that belong to the Telugu Desam. As we know, Revanth Reddy is someone who is considered close to Chandrababu Naidu. He was someone who, in fact, went to jail in the note for vote cash scam. this was on behalf of Chandrababu Naidu is what we understand in that particular case as well. But now those equations, it looks, have played out well for Revanth Reddy because the Kama vote in Andhra Pradesh, the Kama vote in Telangana, it seems to have come to the Congress party. The consolidation of those two leading castes, which are otherwise considered as politically dominant castes here. The third big story, of course, is the kind of showing that the BRS has done with hardly about 40 seats that they are managing to as of now. The fact that more than half of the ministers of the BRS in fact have lost the election, more than half of them have lost the election. Only KCR in Gajwel, KTR in Sirsila, there is a Prashant Reddy who's a minister, and you have Siddipet, you have Harish Rao. Those seem to be the only ministers who have managed to win. So the gamble of KCR to repeat the MLAs and to go with those very candidates against whom anti-incumbency had perhaps built up in the last two terms of office, that seems to have really failed for KCR in that sense. And also the fact that everywhere we went, that was the talk, isn't it? Vote for change. And that vote for change, the gainer has been the Congress, because they were able to, in a sense, capitalize on that sentiment among the people, even though we now realize that the anti-incumbency vote did get split up between the BJP and the Congress in many places. The places where the BJP has done very well. We have seen that the anti-incumbency vote was also responsible, other than the fact that in those constituencies,
you're the only one wearing pink in Hyderabad
vote,
today,
there has been the
or a color close to pink in Hyderabad today, Uma. And as you point out, behind you, you're seeing the Congress flag and the TDP flag. As someone who's covered Hyderabad for the last 2 decades, over the last 2 decades, starting from the United Andhra days, to see the Congress and the TDP flag waved together is another moment. I mean, it could only happen after the division of the state. You saw them come into an alliance last time. Let's not forget, as you point out, Revanth Reddy shifts over from the TDP. The TDP holding itself back is also, it's also some fascinating things. Just hold on to your thoughts, Uma. I believe Narendra Singh Tomar's bite, we can play on your screens right now.
हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के लोकप्रियता की जीत है, उनकी योजनाओं के समर्थन की जीत है। मध्य प्रदेश सरकार शिवराज सिंह जी और उनकी योजनाएं जैसे लाडली बहन चुनाव का चित्र ही बदल दिया। मैं इस सीट पर कार्यकर्ताओं को बधाई देता हूँ और जनता का हृदय से आभार प्रकट करता हूँ।
Right, there's reactions coming in thick and fast all around. As far as North India is concerned, Uma, it's the BJP that's speaking. We don't have too many reactions coming in from the Congress. But you tell us about what you're picking up there, Hyderabad, for a moment before we go back to focus on MP, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. Is there some clarity? What do you know of when there could be a CLP meeting? Do we expect a final decision to be taken by the 9th of December, which is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's birthday, as was promised? And also, what we seem to have lost our line with Uma Sudhir there, who's joining us, who was there from outside the Congress office in Hyderabad, very close to the BJP office as well, there in Hyderabad, there, all jubilation and celebrations there, as she was pointing out, not just from the Congress, but remember the TDP abstaining from these elections, staying away from these elections, and those, so, all those pictures coming into you from all around the country. I believe we can go across to Mohan Kumaramangalam of the Congress party. Mohan, thanks very much for joining us. In our part of the world, which is South India, you seem to have reason to smile, but up north in the heartland, it's a decimation. I mean, which one was the biggest shocker for you, MP, Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan?
Rajasthan actually, given that there's still this tradition over the last 30 years of them unseating the incumbent government, it's not much of a shock. In fact, I'd say if you look at 2013 versus this government, We only won 20 or 24 seats in that election when, Mr. Gehlot demitted government last time. And this time we're close to 70 plus. So if you look at it that way, he's actually improved. So I wouldn't say I'm very upset with Rajasthan. Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh are real shockers, without a doubt. I think the tribal vote moving away from the Congress in Madhya Pradesh and in...
Sorry, as you mentioned that, Mohan, I must tell you that on our screens, we're playing BJP visuals of Shivraj Singh Chouhan and Jyotiraditya Scindia. They are celebrating. You are an old-time hand at politics. What do you think? Ultimately, Jyotiraditya Scindia leaving the party seems to have cost it in Chambal. Mohan?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you there for a second.
Mohan, I was just saying that we're playing pictures from Madhya Pradesh of Shivraj Singh Chouhan, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chouhan, Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, all celebrations there in Madhya Pradesh. I just wanted to ask you, in hindsight, Jyotiraditya Scindia leaving the party and, a reiteration of the Kamal Nath influence over Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath Digvijay Singh combo over Madhya Pradesh, has that what cost the party the inability to grasp on the anti-incumbency on the ground there in that state?
I think, Mr. Scindia's influence is limited to his borough, and I won't even know how much that influence works on an independent basis. I think he needed the BJP to cement his hold there, which is why he left the Congress party. So I wouldn't give him too much credit, if you will. Of course, we'll have to look at the details of what has happened in which seat before I can truly comment on how much of a difference his presence has made in the BJP. I will say that, it's interesting to note that wherever the Congress party didn't declare a chief ministerial face, where we didn't have, one particular person and we relied on collective leadership instead, we seem to have done well, which is Telangana. But where we've gone in with one single chief ministerial face, we haven't been able to convert. So, like I said, the untold story, and I don't know if you've been talking about it, is the tribal vote in places like Sarguja and Chhattisgarh, Bastar, which we swept last time in the elections, actually leaving us in this round. That also was truly shocking for me because we've managed to get the tribal vote in the south, but in Chhattisgarh, where we had cornered it last time, we've completely lost our hold over it. So I think as a party, we need to introspect as to why we let that happen.
This is not often part of conversation up here in the north of India, but what is it that defines a potential ability to, create a sweep in Karnataka, Telangana? What is it that's, from your point of view, different about the south, and where is it that the Congress lacks up north? I mean, would you agree that...
That's a good question. It's a good question. It's actually something I've been thinking about since this afternoon, frankly. When I was watching, I was in another channel on one of the debates, and they showed a picture of the BJP workers celebrating in Madhya Pradesh, and they weren't saying Bharat Mata Ki Jai or something more regional specific. They were saying Jai Shri Ram. And Jai Shri Ram was the chant that they were using, a religious chant to celebrate their victory. I think maybe the one big difference is Hindutva does not have a foothold in the south and has tried in different shapes and forms to try and get a foothold, but has failed. Maybe some pockets like Mangalore in Karnataka or Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu, if you will, but very, very micro pockets. Overall, the ideology has just not been able to establish itself in southern India. Right. And with Telangana going as well, I think we're well and true on our way to have a BJP Mukt South India. Of course, I'm not saying that, we should look at India as two separate countries. And, please don't quote me on saying that we don't need North India. The Congress party very much needs North India as well. It's just that I think we need to find a strategy to counter Hindutva effectively in North India, which is not a problem.
You need to find that strategy very fast. Just stay with us, Mohan, because I want to ask you a couple of other questions as well regarding to how this would potentially impact the INDIA alliance. But I believe we are also joined by BJP leader Bhaskar Ghosh. Sir, the biggest takeaway, as I may ask you that, in terms of from these elections, A, and B, when do you expect to have clarity on who's going to help the top jobs in the states that the BJP has bagged? We seem to have lost
I can't
that
hear
line.
it clearly. Can you repeat this question if you don't mind, please?
Sorry, the more substantial question is, when do you expect us to have clarity on who's going to helm the top job in the states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, or should we already assume that the incumbent in Madhya Pradesh will continue?
I think the situation today need to be totally finalized. The real figure has to be come up, and according to our laws and our practices, though we have fought the entire battle, keeping Mr. Narendra Modi as the chieftain, as a most stalwart leader whose guarantee is an assurance for rest of India, 140 crore people. But as far as the question of selection is concerned, as you know that we have got an parliamentary board, they will decide that whether, which state, who is going to be, and before that they will talk to almost all winning MLAs as well as the Sangathan over there. Then we will take a collective decision on this issue, and then we will be coming with a press conference and announce it.
All right, it'll be a collective decision, you say, on all these issues. And as you point out, I think the takeaway I'm taking away, Bhaskar, from what you say is this, that the numbers will decide the road ahead. At a 170, it's a different choice. At 105, it's a different choice, like it is for the Congress as well in several places. Would you agree?
Sorry, I can't get the last part of it. Sorry?
Yeah, I'm asking you, do I take the substantial portion of what you've said as the numbers, the extent and the magnitude of the numbers that you get will decide how the party works around the local
issues? Normally what happens, if you get the entire number, then you have the entire gamut of people who have been selected. And then it is easier for the parliamentary board members to communicate with them, to interact with them, to take their views. Right. And as I say, it is a very collective decision. So after talking to them at length, the top leadership will decide that whom to select and whom to give the responsibility of coming 5 years. And actually, we are looking beyond 5 years. As you know, Honorable Prime Minister has given a blueprint for next 2047, 2035, then step by step. So we are making our leadership accordingly. So until we get the total numbers, the total number of selected MLAs to take their full views and how we can take a holistic democratic decisions.
Okay, important.
That was my point.
No, it's an interesting point that you make there. I'm just nudging because we are television journalists. We want to know before everybody else. Obviously, you'll all take your time out. You have much more at stake. So, we're trying to keep the television news rolling and we want to get that bit. But Mohan, coming back to you, what do you think the impact of today's result will be on the INDIA alliance? I believe, Mohan, we can't go across to Mohan Kumar Mangalam. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll try and address that question of what this means for the Congress as well as for the BJP in the road ahead to 2024.
हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हुए नहीं कि बिल का मीटर चालू, और ये मीटर पहले आपके ऑफिस का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस खत्म करेगा और फिर सारी सेविंग्स। पर घबराओ नहीं, पॉलिसी बाजार पे 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू। ले लो।
What you're missing on the inside is waiting for you out there. Find the missing piece of your puzzle. Write the missing part of your story. The new Safari. Reclaim your life.
Well, there we'll go live across to Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, and there you see it, the entire gamut of the BJP's leadership there, holding together, holding hands, and that's a declaration of the victory there. There you can see it on your screens. You have Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chouhan, you have Jyotiraditya Scindia on the other side. Several key factors there in Madhya Pradesh, but the magnitude of victory, 162 to 66 for the Congress, is a huge blow for the Congress. As I was mentioning earlier, there was nervous anticipation about Madhya Pradesh, but I don't think the Congress or its leadership really factored into how difficult things could be in Madhya Pradesh. There you have those numbers that are playing out on your screens. 162 for the BJP, 66 for the Congress, and 1 for others, and I think 1 for BSP. I believe Vasundhara Raje Scindia is also about to speak in Jaipur. Let's dip into that. We can hear that as well. Potential Chief Minister contender, perhaps front runner there in Rajasthan.
सरकार गई ना on that. That has changed. So expectation is.
During my Jhalawat visit, I was just trying to find out a single poster of Congress candidate. Not able.
मैं आपने ये मेरे को कहा नहीं. I also didn't look. I must say. I'm trying to remember. नहीं. Okay, we'll start. Let's get over this, and then we can sit and chat for a little while. तो सबसे पहले राजस्थान की ये जो शानदार जीत है, ये माननीय हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, जिनका मंत्र था ये सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास, ये उसकी जीत है. उनकी दी हुई गारंटी की जीत है. ये जीत हमारे माननीय केंद्रीय मंत्री होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी की रणनीति की जीत है. और ये जीत हमारे माननीय अध्यक्ष श्री नड्डा जी के कुशल नेतृत्व की जीत है. और फिर सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ये भी है, ये जीत हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं की, जिनके अथक प्रयास परिश्रम की जीत है. उन्होंने दिन और रात हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के जो सपने को साकार करने की पूरी कोशिश करते हुए उस दिशा में मेहनत करके ये परिणाम दिलाने का काम किया है. और सबसे बड़ी बात तो ये है कि ये जीत हमारे जनता जनार्दन की है, जिसने कांग्रेस के कुराज को नकारते हुए और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सुराज को अपनाने का काम किया है. और ये जीत 2024 में मोदी जी को फिर से देशवासियों की सेवा का अवसर देने की जीत, ये जीत है. सो दैट्स ऑल आई वांटेड टू से. मेरी तरफ से तो इतना ही है. और फिर आप बंद कर दो तो फिर अपन सवाल नहीं, नो सवाल.
आपने क्या कह दिया कि
सवाल नहीं सर, नो सवाल. अब इसके बाद आप स्विच कर दो ऑफ एंड देन अपन बात करेंगे. ये नहीं करेंगे, चाय पिलाओ इनको.
Right there you had Vasundhara Raje there speaking there. Now in Bhopal you have Shivraj Singh Chouhan, the Chief Minister, speaking. Let's cut in live to that.
उनकी रणनीति जगत विकास नड्डा जी का हमें प्राप्त मार्गदर्शन, प्रकाश जी, आदरणीय भूपेंद्र जी, आदरणीय जी और हमारे प्रदेश अध्यक्ष विष्णुदत्त शर्मा जी सहित सभी कार्यकर्ताओं और हम सब नेताओं ने मिलकर कार्यकर्ताओं के साथ काम किया. फिर से भारतीय जनता पार्टी शानदार जीत मिली है. ये मध्य प्रदेश की प्रगति और विकास जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने किया है, विकास को जनता का प्यार और आशीर्वाद मिला है. हमने समाज के हर वर्ग के कल्याण के लिए जो योजनाएं बनाई, चाहे वो लाडली बहना योजना हो, मुख्यमंत्री सीखो कमाओ योजना हो, या केंद्र की योजनाओं का जो योग्य क्रियान्वयन किया, डबल इंजन की सरकार के काम को जनता ने आशीर्वाद दिया है. मध्य प्रदेश में कोई एंटी इनकम्बेंसी नहीं थी. कांग्रेस के लोग कहते थे एंटी इनकम्बेंसी, और यहाँ तो जनता के प्यार की प्रो इनकम्बेंसी थी. और भरपूर प्यार आज मध्य प्रदेश की जनता ने लुटाया है. मैं मध्य प्रदेश की जनता को दोनों हाथ जोड़ के प्रणाम करता हूं. और हम सब ये विश्वास दिलाते हैं कि एक एक वचन जो जनता ने दिया है वो हम पूरा करेंगे। मेरे देवतुल्य कार्यकर्ता बहनों और भाइयों, आपके परिश्रम को प्रणाम, संगठन की मेहनत को प्रणाम। और कई ऐसे लोग थे जो सामने नहीं दिख रहे थे लेकिन पीछे रह के काम कर रहे थे, ऐसे सारे साथियों को मैं प्रणाम करता हूं। और जनता को पूरा ये विश्वास कि मध्य प्रदेश प्रगति और विकास के पथ पर चलेगा और जनता के कल्याण की हर वादे को, गारंटी को हम पूरा करेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बोलिए भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
That's Shivraj Singh Chouhan, but perhaps a major factor in Madhya Pradesh was also in the Chambal region, which the Congress swept in the last election. This is the region of influence of Jyotiraditya Scindia, who shifted over to the Bharatiya Janata Party. And earlier, my colleague Anurag Dwari spoke with Jyotiraditya Scindia in Bhopal. Let's listen in.
सर, आज की इस जीत पर क्या कहेंगे? ऐसी जीत की उम्मीद थी?
अनुराग, मैंने आपको कहा था कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत होगी और आपने भी उस दिन मुझे कहा था कि मुझे भी लग रहा है कि यही होगा। आपकी सोच और हमारी सोच पूर्ण रूप से सत्य निकली। इस जीत पर अगर मैं किसी को प्रथम मैं धन्यवाद अर्पित करना चाहता हूं तो हमारे मध्य प्रदेश के एक एक मतदाता को मैं देना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ ये सरकार बनाई है। मैं उनके सामने मैं प्रणाम करता हूं, नतमस्तक हूं और उनके पैर छूता हूं। और उसी के साथ प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व, जो एक पूर्ण रूप से लक्ष्य के साथ उन्होंने कार्य किया है मध्य प्रदेश के विकास के लिए, देश के विकास के लिए। गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी और हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा जी, उनका मार्गदर्शन, हमारी जो हौसला अफजाई हुई। और प्रदेश के अंदर अगर किसी को श्रेय जाता है तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एक एक कार्यकर्ता, जिसने खून पसीना एक करके इस पार्टी को इस स्थान पे लाया है। और हमारे मुख्यमंत्री शिवराज सिंह चौहान जी, जिनकी जन कल्याणकारी योजनाओं ने ये परिवर्तन लाया है। और हमारे प्रदेश अध्यक्ष बीडी शर्मा जी।
और ये छत्तीसगढ़ में क्या हो गया? आप तो वहां भी
प्रधानमंत्री जी का देश की जनता के दिल में जो जादू है, राजस्थान हो, छत्तीसगढ़ हो, मध्य प्रदेश हो, एक इतिहास प्रधानमंत्री जी ने देश के अंदर जो कायम किया है, उसी का एक रिफ्लेक्शन है कि एक एक राज्य में जनता उनके साथ जुड़ी है।
वैसे एक आखिरी सवाल, मुख्यमंत्री चेहरे को लेकर बहुत सवाल हो रहे हैं।
मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कार्यकर्ता था, आज हूं और जिंदगी भर रहूंगा। उसी सोच और विचारधारा के साथ, उसी श्रेणी में मैं कार्य कर रहा हूं।
Well, let's also go across to the other state, and perhaps the biggest shocker for the Congress came from Chhattisgarh, where the Congress was really expecting to hold on to its incumbent government there in that state, but a confident former Chief Minister Raman Singh spoke to NDTV a short while ago. Let's just play that for you.
छत्तीसगढ़ में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बन रही है और जितने रुझान आ रहे हैं उसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पूर्ण बहुमत है। हमारे साथ पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री डॉक्टर रमन सिंह हैं। आप पहले भी बोल रहे थे कि 52 से 55 के बीच में, अब वो आंकड़ा पहुंच रहा है।
बिल्कुल लगता था और पूरे छत्तीसगढ़ को घूमने के बाद एहसास हो गया था कि भूपेश सरकार के भय और आतंक से जनता ऊब चुकी है, भ्रष्टाचार से ऊब चुकी है और बदलाव होगा।
अब आगे का क्या होगा, क्योंकि अब पूर्ण बहुमत आ गया भारतीय जनता पार्टी को। अब जो चर्चाएं हो रही हैं कि मुख्यमंत्री कौन होगा, तो क्या माना जाए कि अब डॉक्टर रमन सिंह ही मुख्यमंत्री होंगे?
नहीं, कोई डॉक्टर रमन के चेहरे को सामने रखकर चुनाव नहीं लड़ा गया। विधायक दल की बैठक होगी, पर्यवेक्षक आएंगे, विधायकों से राय लिया जाएगा और दल का नेता चुना जाएगा। हर बार यही होता है, 2003 में भी हुआ, 8 में भी हुआ, 13 में भी हुआ, तो वो प्रक्रिया समानता है और विधायकों के बैठक के बाद तय हो जाएगा।
आपसे जब भी मेरी बात हुई तो आप यही बोल रहे थे कि 52 से 55 सीटें में पूर्ण बहुमत के साथ। बाकी अगर देखें, एग्जिट पोल देखें, तमाम जो लोग हैं वो ये आकलन नहीं, तो आप इसको किस तरीके से आकलन कर पा रहे थे?
पूरे छत्तीसगढ़ को घूमने के बाद एक नक्शा बना हुआ था और ये मालूम था कि भूपेश के घमंड को, भूपेश के भ्रष्टाचार को छत्तीसगढ़ की जनता भूपेश के चेहरे को रिजेक्ट करने जा रही है और ये दिख रहा है पूरे चुनाव में।
अच्छा, क्या मोदी जी की गारंटी काम की और घोषणा पत्र ने पूरा ये लैंडस्लाइड किया?
निश्चित रूप से जो नतीजा दिख रहा है, मोदी जी की गारंटी सबसे प्रमुख रूप से, उस गारंटी पे छत्तीसगढ़ की जनता ने विश्वास किया है और डबल इंजन की सरकार बनाने के लिए छत्तीसगढ़ की जनता ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को प्रचंड बहुमत से जिताया है।
सरकार बनने के बाद फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी, पहला काम क्या होगा?
पहले ही कहा हुआ है कि 18 लाख आवास की बात और जो घोषणा पत्र हमने कहा है उसके क्रियान्वयन की बात, महिलाओं को 12,000 रुपया देने से लेकर अन्य घोषणा है उसका क्रियान्वयन।
उप मुख्यमंत्री डॉक्टर मन सिंह का कहना है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पूर्ण बहुमत मिल रहा है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनने के बाद जो घोषणा पत्र में वादे किए गए हैं उन वादों को पूरा किया जाएगा। कैमरा पर्सन प्रवीण साहू के साथ जुल्फिकार अली, NDTV।
Right, from Bhopal to Raipur, now to Jaipur, where again BJP leaders out celebrating. My colleague Vedant spoke with Diya Kumari, who has won her seat and or at least leading in that seat and could be potential Chief Minister aspirant as well. Let's listen in.
क्या आप आश्वस्त है पूरी तरीके से कि बीजेपी पूर्ण बहुमत से वापस आएगी?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार राजस्थान में बन रही है, छत्तीसगढ़ में बन रही है और मध्य प्रदेश में बन रही है। इतना एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था, लेकिन एक्सपेक्टेशन से ज्यादा बड़ी जीत होने वाली है। बहुत खुशी है, सब में कार्यकर्ताओं में खुशी की लहर है और जनता में भी है। जनता अपने उखाड़ फेंक दी है इस कांग्रेस की भ्रष्टाचारी सरकार को और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ऐसी अच्छी सरकार, स्थिर सरकार तो जनता के लिए काम करे, जनता के हित के लिए काम करे, महिलाओं को सुरक्षा दे, युवाओं को रोजगार दे, किसानों को न्याय दिलाए। ऐसी सरकार के लिए जनता ने वोट किया है, राजस्थान की जनता ने।
Well, yes, let's just to bring the overall picture into viewers who are possibly just tuning in now. Let's go state by state in terms of picture that's emerged all day. In terms of leads, Madhya Pradesh is the biggest shocker for the Congress. Obviously, those leads, several of them will turn into results shortly. BJP at 161, there you have on the screens. 67 for the Congress, 1 for the BSP, 1 for others. This was a state where the Congress was expecting a close fight, perhaps even a win. Some were saying around 125 in terms of Congress strategists, and this was a blow as far as the Congress is concerned, which had outsourced the campaign completely to Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh in that state. Kamal Nath, of course, the champion of Chhindwara, couldn't pull his way through in these elections, and it was Shivraj Singh Chouhan from the Budni with all his welfare schemes who has ruled the roost there in Madhya Pradesh. Of course, several central ministers, MPs contesting from Madhya Pradesh, strategic decisions by the Bharatiya Janata Party which seems to have paid off there. The Prime Minister also heavily invested in campaigning there. So that's one of the biggest victories for the BJP today. Rajasthan, well, it's always been a revolving door. So several skeptics said the Congress need not be confident, but yet the Congress was confident there. Congress at least hoped for something there, but no, it's been undone by the Bharatiya Janata Party. 115 is an emphatic victory there. 199 of the 200 seats went to polls, and 115 is an emphatic victory there. The question though there in Rajasthan will be who will become Chief Minister of that state as far as the BJP is concerned, and as far as the Congress is concerned, what's the road ahead? Is it going to be a change from the old guard of Ashok Gehlot to the new guard? Remember that old battle between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot had played itself out in Rajasthan for the last few years. Chhattisgarh, and this is really the shocker for the Congress. This was a government the Congress hoped to retain. In fact, ministers in the government were very confident there. 45, the halfway mark, 46 is a majority, 54 for the BJP and 33 for the Congress. Even at the start of today, the leads were suggesting a flip-flop and some portions, sometimes the Congress ahead. And this is going to be a huge, huge shocker as far as the Congress. Completely gone in these three states, and that's really not good. Remember, juxtapose that to 2018 when the Congress managed to form a government in Madhya Pradesh and held on to Rajasthan and won Chhattisgarh. A different picture coming in now in 2023. Southern story, of course, extremely different. Perhaps a reflection of the South-North divide. In Telangana, the Congress under the Revant Reddy managed to oust the mighty K. Chandrasekhar Rao and the BRS government, which has been the only government since the state was formed in 2014. K. Chandrasekhar Rao, the tallest figure and perhaps the most powerful figure in Telangana, was undone in the Kamareddy seat by Revant Reddy. That was a challenge battle, a prestige battle thrown by the Congress at Kamareddy constituency, where KCR asked five-time MLA Gampa Govardhan to vacate the seat to contest there, and the Congress removed Shabir Ali, the traditional contestant, and put Revanth Reddy there, where Revanth Reddy is leading. So we'll keep a close track of all the developments that's down there. I believe I can go across to Anurag Verma, senior journalist. Anurag, in terms of the big picture, one factor is the north-south divide that comes out. The other, and I think perhaps for the opposition's point of view, a more important, prognosis or prediction one needs to make is what impact do you see on the INDIA alliance after these results?
Now, after seeing these results, I think NDA alliance might be in trouble. And because you accept it or not accept it, Rahul Gandhi will have to take the responsibility of this massive defeat. When India alliance, if we talk about India alliance, then how allies will depend or trust on Rahul Gandhi's leadership? This is the biggest question. And I'm sure what I can see, there are a couple of things what Congress has to and Rahul Gandhi has to realize at this point of time. First of all, Rahul Gandhi ji must have to understand and learn decent and politically accepted language in public space. Secondly, they also need a better faces in central leadership, because BJP is fighting all the elections, contesting all the elections through central leadership. We can see numerous central leadership, central ministers went to state assembly elections, which was very unlikely. And
I just want to ask you this, Anurag, and I believe Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh of the BJP is also here with us on this panel. How do you, because these assembly elections have been won by the BJP, you're saying that it's a reflection of what's to come in 2024. How do we make the correlation? Because assembly elections often tell a different story from 2024. Why make that correlation this time?
Look, everybody, all allies of India alliance said that this is semi-final for 2024. And there are hardly 3, 4, 5, 6 months left for the 2024 elections. In this situation, we can accept that this is semi-final for next general elections. So, what I can see, this sentiment, BJP will continue with this sentiment, with this work on ground level to contest 2024 elections. This is my assumption.